What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the SPY, the Nasdaq, the QQQs, and the futures. Break down what the data is telling us, why this is going to be very important, and why tomorrow is going to be a very critical day because we have some very important levels to discuss. And before I break anything down about what these levels are, how this may affect the markets, and what you should be watching out for, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each valued at up to $3,000. And the best part is, any could be a free Tesla share, a free Apple share, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 1 week, so make sure you check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So what's going on with the markets? I just want to note that tomorrow before the market opens, 15 minutes after the market opens, we have PMI data coming out. And this is very important because it gives us some good understandings of how the market ends up performing, how the economy is doing. And I just want to note that if PMI is actually a little bit high, this could be interpreted in different ways, whether it is the economy looking strong or not, or it could actually slow the market down. We also have existing home sales data coming out at about 30 minutes after the market opens. For Wednesday, we have some mortgage data. We also have the FOMC minutes with some Fed speakers. Then going into Thursday, we have jobless claims. Then Friday has the notorious PCE data. So PCE is going to be very important too. But our focus right now will just be on this for Tuesday. Then we also have, we had some earnings today, actually. Very interesting stuff. And on Tuesday, we have Walmart, we have Coinbase, we have a bunch of other ones. Not to mention the fact that we also have Wish.com later on, Carvana. So very interesting earnings week. Not as huge as before, but we do have Nvidia and Lucid. But other than that, guys, not too massive in my opinion. Now, I just want to talk about the charts. What are they telling us? Well, right now, we did form this hammer near the close, and it does look like the market's going to try to get a nice push up. I believe SPY is going to try to break 408. I don't know if we're going to break it. If we do, we could try to get to 410. Now, this is going to be very critical because if we could break 410, then we're going to likely retest the trend line. But even if we do retest it, there's no guarantee we're going to break out of like 412. If you want to turn super bullish, we need this thing to get back above 415. If we could do that, the market could go flying to the upside big time, right? Those projections people were saying in the past of like 420, 430, and etc., the gaps up there getting filled between those levels, that becomes way more likely and way more possible if we do manage to get all the way up above 415. Now, am I saying that's going to happen? No, I'm simply just giving you guys one possibility, and I'm just letting you know the very important level. But right now, one of the most important levels is 410. We want to see this thing break that at the very least. If not, we have to watch the support that held us up on Friday. That's going to be very important, that 404 level. If that doesn't hold, we could come all the way down to 400, and we need to bounce off 400. This is another critical level, because if it fails at 400 eventually, whether it takes a few days or not, then we're likely going to come all the way down to the 200 period moving average around that 395 level. So that's another very key level. What do I think is going to happen tomorrow? I think it's going to be another choppy day, kind of sideways, not a whole ton. I believe, though, we might still get a green close, though. All right. So my prediction is we're going to get a nice bounce, a nice push up, and we're going to try to get to 408. If we break it, I'm not 100% sure if we will, but if we do, 410 is probably going to stop us. We're going to trade sideways and maybe start to slow down a little bit, but still close just barely in the green around 407. I still think it's possible. I think the market is more likely to hold up for the time being before seeing more downside later on, maybe during the later days of the week. For the triple Q, our friend the triple Q, we have this nice gap up here. It's going to likely try to get to about 304. I don't know if we're going to fill the gap all the way up. I don't know if we're going to break 304. If we do, a very important level is 308. But I do believe 304 is a very key zone for the triple Q, because if it manages to hold that, we do have space to try to get to 308, and that could be very bullish for tech. Now, I also want to note that we have this very, very key demand zone between this 298 to 297 level. That's just below 300. If we do come down, we might try to bounce off there. So what am I predicting? All right. I am predicting we're going to get a nice push up to fill the gap, and we're going to likely get slowed down around 304. Maybe the data comes out, it's not as good, and the market starts to slow down, and we see some sideways action. We might close barely at a very, very flat place, maybe just barely above 300. And I think that the triple Q might be very flat. I don't see too much happening for the close. I think the VIX on the daily is likely going to see a little bit of downside. If you look at how this formation was looking, the VIX might come down a little more, maybe try to retest the wedge, then get a bounce later on. It seems very, very possible because of the fact that the VIX is still chopping back and forth, and we didn't actually hold a critical level as of right now. We are above 20. We're going to have to see if 20 holds, because we might break below it just a little bit, then bounce off the 19 area. That's also very possible. As for SPX, it's almost the same as what I said about SPY, very similar TA, if anything. Uh, I just want to note to everyone that you have to be very, very careful. I do think that SPX is going to get ready for a nice bounce. It's going to try to get to about 4,100. I don't know if that's going to hold, though. We have to be very careful. Even if it fails, we could still try to barely close green. Tesla is showing some very nice relative strength. On the hourly time frame, I just want to note to everyone, Tesla looks a little bit more bullish. It's going to try to likely get to this 215 area. And I can't guarantee it's going to hold that. That's a very, very important supply zone. It's gotten rejected there many times. It's going to have to fight for 215. Very important level. If it breaks it, it has potential to try to fly to 220. If it fails, then we could start seeing Tesla come down. And we might see this thing close very flat, maybe a little bit better than the market, because so far Tesla's holding up a lot better. So I'm guessing it might try to push up to 215, maybe fail there and close just barely in the green or very, very flat. Meta, it does look like it might try to bounce a little bit, maybe try to slowly approach this 175 area. But when you zoom out, don't forget we have this giant gap it's still filling. So even if we get a small bounce, it's going to likely continue to come down as the weeks progress to fill the gap all the way back to the 150s. So Meta does look bearish overall. The same could be said about Microsoft. We haven't fully filled all the gaps down here around this 250 area. I think Microsoft is going to bounce tomorrow, fill the gap in the 262 area, maybe go a little higher, trade sideways, and slowly bleed to fill the gap below. Apple, very similar, very, very similar. Nice push up, fill the gap, get rejected off 154, then continue to trade sideways. And then later during the week, I expect it to come down most likely, and it might fill the gap down here, dragging the markets down. There is a good chance that could happen because the dollar is telling us that, hey, the dollar's breaking out. The dollar's pushing up. It's telling us that the market might get a slowdown soon. This is what tends to happen when it breaks out. It already broke out, and it still is showing some nice strength, as the MACD is telling us. So this is a sign that the market is in a topping process, and we are going to likely get a push-up, sure, but there's no guarantee the push-up is going to lead to new highs. We might see the market slow down, and we might see the market reverse soon, thanks to the dollar index. Finally, the last thing I'm going to mention would be 10-year Treasury yield. We could see this thing get rejected off this 39 area because we have some major resistance right over there. We could come down a little bit, thus helping the markets push up, but the overall uptrend could still be respected. Maybe a slight drop in the yield could help the markets push up, followed by a nice bounce and a continuation to the upside later on. That seems very possible. We do have this gap up here in the 41 area. It could try to get there later, but it needs more time. So other than that, guys, that's basically what I have for this video. I'm going to try to keep this one kind of short. And I just want you all to be very, very excited and also very prepared for what the market is going to do. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. The market to the moon, because the long-term future is still very bright. And peace out.